So Elden Ring's back, so all the clickbait videos are kind of back too. So just like my old Elden Ring video, I'm gonna try and give some actual real advice instead of these like weird advanced tip things. And I'm gonna keep it short, so not to like waste your time. Frozen Peaks, if you come up this side of the mountain, when you first encounter the boss, instead of going around to climb up the regular way, if you just do this hop up, you can climb up basically the entire side of the mountain. And especially for storm placement, coming from this side is a lot faster. Then you can get the thing and fight the legendary boss to get a guaranteed legendary weapon. Oh, he moved.
Okay. Wait, he didn't skip too, GG.
So there's a boss on the roof. This is the fastest way to get to him. Pretty simple. Thought this might help someone because there's also another hop up. So for the standard map, there's kind of a lot to look at. So I'm just going to break things down very fast. Only go to rises if you're a recluse. Cathedrals are only good early game and only drop weapons. If you think you can steamroll it for some free runes, you're not going to get very many, but you might get some. Mines may seem like a death trap at first, but the smithing stone upgrade is very useful. They also give a surprisingly good amount of runes, and really can be done anytime throughout the game and be viable. Hit every church. Even if you're avoiding some areas that you would like to get runes from, the more churches the better. If you have a world event on your world, always get the secret artifact. The only exception to this is maybe Knockladio, because the timing for Estelle is really bad. The circle will always pull toward the world events. The Scarlet Forest perk spawns either here or over here, if you really want to skip this. The best fast-paced rune farm is going to the castle at like level 3. If the basement boss, which you go find through the river, is the bell-bearing hunter, it's not really worth it. Never ignore the raids, you always want to do them. For example, Margit, if he kills and defeats one of your teammates and they die and respawn, he goes away and you lose the opportunity for his buff. Especially do not ignore Sentient Pest or Libra. Sentient Pest will not fight back. Libra's raid is a little strange. Make sure you always pay it off immediately, like when it comes. Only one person needs to do it. If you don't, you lose permanent health for the rest of the game. You also get a free buff, like an extra flask or a better perks, better scaling. After paying it off, you can fight him, but it only gives you runes. If you encounter Libra normally, a lot of his stuff isn't very good. The only one I would really recommend is the extra flask. I'm going to rank the bosses in the classes. So for the Nightfarers, in terms of actual like usability, first of all, there is no D tier. Let's just remove that. Okay, S tier, Raider and Iron Eye. Iron Eye's whole kit is just busted. If you want to play the game on easy mode, you just get 3 Iron Eyes. It's just game over. Raider has very good stagger, and it's probably the better of the 2 tanks in the game. Considering he's a tank and has damage output, he's just the best option. Jumping to the other tank, Guardian. Guardian's pretty like brain rot. It's like those old shield builds in the old game, but his damage output is so bad that he genuinely might be the only C tier. Is he viable? Obviously. He is still the only other tank in the game, but relative to the other Nightfarers, once you reach a certain skill point, he's basically useless. You know what? I am going to add D tier back, actually. The reason for this, I'm going to move him down to then introduce why Executor is C tier. A lot of people are going to disagree because he's good for status proccing, good arcane, amazing dex, but his whole kit is pretty underwhelming compared to everything else, especially against bosses that don't take status like bleed. Once you really try and master him, his parry ability becomes basically a novelty, because it's not a real parry. It's a very fluid mechanic, but isn't as useful besides switch parrying, which is, well, you could just roll. Wilder's a pretty consistent A tier. He'd be B tier if it wasn't for Sixth Sense. He really is just like the baseline, but he's just a really good one. Duchess is the real middle. She's a little volatile, mainly because her main use case is required for like trios. As a solo character, her best gimmick is just status proccing, but again, not all bosses. Rewind itself, though, is still just crazy. I put Recluse below Duchess, only because she suffers of the same problem. She's very good for damage output, but standalone when, like, you're the last alive, she's just not putting up those numbers. She probably has the weakest dodge in the game, even weaker than Guardian. And mechanically, I'm actually shocked that they made the Mage class the highest skill class to play, considering in the original game, you know. But really, when it comes to it, I think I'd rather see any of the other characters. Lastly, Revenant is kind of tricky. As a class, she can be super overpowered if you get the right conditions. But standalone, she isn't amazing. She has a lot of flexibility, and her summons do come in useful when they aren't getting one-shot. I'd say she's basically tied with Recluse. If not better, And if not, better still. If you can really work incantations, get the right FP stuff, she's she's probably A tier. But with with luck, it'll probably drag her down back to B. For ranking boss difficulty, this does not count cheese. I see some people saying like, oh yeah, Libra's so easy because I beat him with 3 archers. Oh really? First of all, Augur, you're bottom, bro. This feels like a boss designed for just Recluse and Iron Eye. In fact, a lot of the bosses actually just feel like that. Like they were designed for a certain archetype. Except for Adele. He's just, I don't even know what the hell's going on there. Would I say anything's S tier difficulty? No. Would I say anything's A tier difficulty? Yeah. In fact, I'll just start with the heavy hitter. Libra is probably the most really dumb mechanically boss. He's kind of gimmicky like Maris or Augur. I just call him Augur. I don't know why. But his moves are like really poorly designed. He just spams a lot of the time. A lot of his moves don't feel really cohesive. It's like a low skill mage player in Elden Ring PvP. He's just spamming moves that are gonna hit you because they lock onto you and you can't do anything about it. But he's not like an S tier boss because once you really get the flow down, he's not like hard. He's just like really annoying. I'd say Tricephalos is like a C tier boss. Sometimes they'll hit you with some like weird, like those fire moves and they'll hit you and you'll just start losing health gradually because you're not realizing that he's just spraying fire. And that fire really adds up. But like as the starter boss, it's obviously not going to be as hard as the other ones. You know, I just realized I don't think I have enough tiers to make this work. I'm adding back another tier. Okay, a B.5 boss is the Centaur. His second phase is just really annoying, but once you learn it, it's not too bad. But he's definitely like an annoyance. He's not a fun fight by any means. And a lot of his moves are just like over dramatic, and they just, you know, he jumps up into the air and then swings his sword and just takes out a big AoE. And it's like all that for like a little bit of damage, but you're getting no hits on him. He's running around. He's just super annoying. A boss I think is actually easier than Libra is the Night Lord. I think it's just because I've beat him so many times. He's probably the easiest boss to really learn. The hardest maybe on your first go. But since he's like the only real like humanoid boss, you pick up on him pretty fast. It's kind of like Melania. It's like Melania if she just didn't stagger like at all. I'm going to put Adele and Nozer both in B, but they're like equal. They're just really annoying enemies with a lot of health. Their moves are just like really dumb. Unless you're counting Adele lagging you as a mechanic, that might push him to like the B.5. I don't know, I beat him first try, but they both felt very similar. It's just a big thing with a bunch of health that just moves around a lot. The stupid Scorpion and Nozer though is like, that's like super annoying. Especially when you have to allocate who's fighting who. Like archers just get stomped. And then I'd put Caligo above these two. Just because it's frostbite moves, like if you're not just running away all the time, and you're like, oh yeah, let me roll through it, it's just not happening. But his difficulty is not too insane.